Guys, it's Kara, and I just wanted to continue the theme of more content. And so I'm going to do something a little bit unrelated to content um, today, just because I think it's important we talk about this. So many of us are working at home, if not all of us in this space are working at home. And although this isn't a huge departure for many digital marketers, especially owner led agencies, there's a huge difference or shift in how we do things. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about staying motivated during this time. And I know for me, it's been a bit of a challenge for sure. I think everybody's feeling that way as well. So a couple of things that we could chat about, or ways that I stay motivated throughout this whole coronavirus thing. And they're talking, at least in Canada, it's looking like the end of June is going to be when things potentially could go back to normal. Whether or not that's true or whether it happens, who knows? So I think we should all just sort of buckle down and find ways to stay motivated, even if we're still working mostly or completely from home. I will talk a little bit about what it's like to have kids at home. We've got 4 daughters between Ken and I, and one of them is still in school. The other three are done. But she's home and she's feeling the pinch and the challenge of this as well. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So, one of the best ways that I stay motivated in my business in general, motivated in general, is through journaling. I know this isn't something that maybe agency taught. I know we have a lot of male agency owners, and I'm not sure if this is a practice that you've grown up doing. I know women have. We've done, a form of journaling, writing in our diaries from when we were young. But I do know that a lot of people practice journaling. And so that's one of the things that I do, I would say, the most consistently in the morning. So I get up. Sometimes I won't even roll out of bed. I'll just start to write. I have my journal next to my bed. So I will usually just kind of like roll over and start writing. And the way that I find it the most useful is finding things I'm grateful for. And if any of you know me personally, or I mean, I've talked about it when I've had calls with my clients. I'm a big believer in I do go to a lot of Tony Robbins events, and most of what he's talking about, I think the very foundation of it is having gratitude. That's the way in and out of anything that's bothering. If you can't be angry and grateful, you can't be sad or fearful and grateful. So that's, if I've upped anything, I would say that it's the feeling of gratitude throughout this, and not focusing much energy on what I'm not allowed to do right now and focusing on what I'm grateful that I can do. Another thing is, so when I'm writing, sorry, I'll just go back to that. When I'm writing, what I tend to do is, I always tell people when I'm talking to them, young people who are looking to start really getting into their mindset work, is write out a perfect day that you consider perfect. So for me, it might be I wake up in my, bedroom, and I can hear the birds, I can hear water, the waves crashing, anything that's really detailed. I find like when you are journaling, that's something that's really fun to do, is just create like this crazy, my agency is employing 40 people now, or, however that perfect day looks like for you, make sure that you write it and you're really detailed about it, because that is how you'll start to visualize and manifest. So that's my second thing that I do to stay motivated, is I spend some time with visualization. So for me, the way that works the best is I will find some music that I find really inspirational. And for me, it's usually kind of like chill step, or kind of that, there's not usually any words or anybody singing. It's just sound. And so I'm able to get really into my, that creative frequency where I'm thinking about what my company looks like, what my home looks like, all that kind of thing. And I sit there for sometimes 10 or 20 minutes, and I plug in, and I'm like, it's like a story, a movie over and over again in my head of what I want to happen. So I spend a lot of time visualizing, which keeps me motivated for sure. Another thing is getting outside. I mean, we're in Toronto, so the weather is starting to get really nice out here, and it's sunny today. It's beautiful today, and I will spend time outside. So, I find, I'll be totally honest, like the last couple of days, maybe the last week I've been sort of like in a funk. And as soon as I get outside, it's kind of like my grandfather-in-law used to say, blow the stink off you. And I mean, that's kind of how it feels. Like if I'm not happy and I'm feeling crusty and pissy or whatever, I'll go outside for a walk. And honestly, it makes all the difference. So I highly encourage that. If you're not already getting outside, get outside for a nice walk. This is a huge one, especially for the ladies, I find. And some of you guys, it's funny because in digital marketing, we get away with like hoodies and sweats and whatever. But I will say there's a lot to be said for getting ready in the morning, especially for the girls. Like if you can see, I've got makeup on, I've did my hair, I got dressed, I'm wearing some jewelry. I'm not going anywhere. I did a Zoom live today for a friend of mine, but outside of that, I'm not going anywhere. But it makes me feel good to get ready. Like it's just sort of that process of doing my hair and all that kind of stuff that really does feel like I'm being purposeful in my day. So ladies, I mean, honestly, if don't do PJs every day, it's dangerous. And guys, I know like Ken, perfect example. That dude wears like hoodies and whatever all the time. But I will say to him, dude, you got to get ready. Like it does make a difference psychologically. So I think that's a huge one. Another thing, this is a bit off track, for your business day, but if you've got kids at home, and let me tell you, we are not used to having Amelia home all the time. And Olivia is also home. She's our 19-year-old and she usually works full time. And so that's hard. Like if you work at home, great. We're kind of used to that as marketers, but we're not really used to having our kids at home all the time. And I will be the first to say that I don't feel like I'm doing a good enough job at all of setting her up for her day. So I'm going to get better at that and have a bit more of a schedule because the schools are still trying to catch up and figure out like, how do we even do this? For us, our daughter's probably not going to go back to school this year. That's not happening. She's not going back to school this year. So we need to get really clear on like her objectives and how to make sure she's not just sitting there playing video games, or watching TV or whatever all that stuff is. So one of the ways that Olivia, our older daughter, she's started doing something really fun in the evenings or for dinner. So she puts on a theme every night. So like Sunday, what's today, Monday? So I guess on Saturday night, she did a Mardi Gras theme and she's so cute. She had like little Mardi Gras masks and she played like Louisiana music. She made jambalaya. Like it was so, so good. And then yesterday we did an emoji. We were going to watch the movie, but we were told by the 10-year-old the movie sucked. And so we didn't watch the movie, but we had a race to see who could there's like a 24-piece emoji puzzle that Olivia had. And so there were two of them. So we raced. So it was Ken and one kid and me and the other, and we raced. I lost. I was not happy about it, by the way, but that's okay. But yeah, so we did that and she made, like a gluten-free chicken penne meal and it was delicious. And like, truth be told, like, I don't care what she makes. It's just nice to have somebody else cook. Right. And she feels purposeful and like the both of them together planning these things. So try some themed, like, dinners to just give them something to do. And the other thing we're doing this week is Spirit Week. So just like at school, we're going to come up with a couple of different, themes and like spirit themed days. And, I don't know. It's just going to see how it goes. But I just wanted to, like I know this is tough for some people. And I think some people are probably just getting used to it. But the motivation is tricky, especially if you've always been home. Because here's the thing, like there's a lot of people right now who are at home who have jobs but can't work. And so for them, it is sort of like, all right, I don't have to work and I can just kind of chill. We don't have that luxury. We've always been home and we have to keep hustling. Like we're the owners. We can't take breaks. And so I know that it's tricky for some of you and please, I always say, reach out to me if you're having a hard time, but hopefully these are a couple of ways to keep you motivated. So just sort of give you a recap. Journaling, huge motivator, visualizing, getting ready in the morning, going for walks, doing something outside carefully with social distancing, and then do some themed family things at the end of the day. That's really helpful to us anyway. So hopefully I've given you a couple of ideas and things to think about, and we'll just keep plugging away because that's what we do. We're entrepreneurs. Have a wonderful week. Bye.